Record. Okay, now if I bring up my camera controller here and zoom in, what we're going to cover today is a couple of things that are, useful, and then maybe not, and then very useful, and then demo. That's kind of how we're going to play today. And what we'll be doing first is useful, is the Windows subsystem for Linux. I believe it's at version 2 now. And basically, there's a couple of steps you have to go through to make it work. Okay. Now, the way it works is, now I go over to screen capture. Oh, or is it? No, it's just, that's video. So I want to, so many things to remember. I need somebody to cue me. All right, so I've got screen 1, share. Okay, so I'm now sharing screen 1. And we want to do Windows subsystem for Linux. And the way this works, there's a couple of things I want to demo in the process before we get to, right before we get to WSL. I want to show you this one. How many have played with this? Remote desktop on Windows. Good. This is an important job skill. It's called RDP, Remote Desktop Protocol, I believe. And what it does is when you enable this remote desktop, it allows other people to get a hold of your box and help you fix it. Okay. So the way Microsoft has taken this idea is, if you are working on your PC and you remote control to his PC, he sees his screen disappear and it pops up on your screen. So he knows somebody's looking at his screen. There are ways using other tools where that's completely transparent, and you can have 30 people in a room share one screen, or each have their own screen using tools like VNC, Spice, some of these other tools that are out there. I don't cover a lot of that. I know how to do it all. It's not part of the stuff you're supposed to learn, but this is the pragmatic side of the house, and this is the kind of thing that can help you in your job of how you do remote desktop. Okay. And I showed you the Google remote desktop. That works too, but that requires you to have a Google account. This does not. This just means you need to be on the same network and the machine needs to be enabled. This is a great way to help grandma figure out her computer, or your mom or your dad or whoever, your brother, sister, everybody else in your family, right? That's remote desktop. And that's simply going to find that, you go to Windows File Explorer, this, right click on this PC, go down to properties. For WSL, you go into control panel, and if you use large icons, you may or may not see them all. They keep changing it. Programs and features is where you want to go. And then there's this thing over here that says turn Windows features on or off. Click on this, and you scroll down to virtual machine platform. That needs to be enabled. You turn it on, and then you can install WSL on your Windows box. And what is WSL? WSL is Windows Subsystem for Linux. Think of it as a Docker container that runs Ubuntu on Windows. It's a containerized app. You cannot use Ubuntu to break into the Windows kernel and cause havoc on the machine. Okay. You can load Kali Linux, you can load Debian, you can load Red Hat, you can load as many as you want. and you may have to hit the documentation, because it's supposed to work from the Microsoft Store, and you search on Ubuntu and you pick your desktop. Yeah, right. I know you're there. There it goes. Let's try this again. I spelled it wrong. That's why. Okay. Looks for this. Okay. There we go. Now it's supposed to click and download, install, voila. Well, on this box, it didn't do that. So I think I'm going to have to use PowerShell and run the command from PowerShell to get it to do its thing. But why do you want to know about this? You want to learn about Linux? That's where all the good jobs are? Well, now you can do it on the box you're comfortable with without trashing the box you're on, or not having to dual boot it, or other crazy things, or worry about virtualization that we can't get a license for. Now, who is this really targeted for? Developers, basically. Okay. I would not use this in production. I would not put a database and a web server on WSL on a Windows box and say, okay, here's our production database running on a web server. I would not do that. You couldn't get enough RAM into the machine to, because this is sandboxed, so it's got things that won't let you do. Okay, so there's limits to what you can do with it, but it is a fantastic way to get an introduction to the world of Linux and all its great glory and jobs. Okay, and it also gives you the ability to do apt-get install on Plex. That would be a great one for you. Is on your Windows box, enable it to see if you run Plex on it. I don't know. You tell me. Yeah. There are limits to what you can get access to, but if you install Plex inside of the WSL, I do believe you can create a shared drive that goes between your host OS and WSL. I believe. I mean, don't take me to the bank on that one, but as you can see, it's not loading. So I would have to go read the instructions. I had the guy that sits over here. He got it to work in class on his notebook yesterday. So if you need to ask when he comes in, I think he's got a class right before this. He got it to work, but that's something very pragmatic that you can play with now. Okay, if you've got a Windows machine at home. Okay, so you can use, what flavor do you want? Well, Ubuntu is what we have here. You can also use Kali, which is that's the security flavor. Okay, so Ubuntu is what we use here. You can use Kali. My other favorite is Debian, Debian. You can use OpenSUSE. Ubuntu and SUSE, the one from Germany, play well with Microsoft. So if you are in a Microsoft house that needs Active Directory and Exchange and all that stuff, those two distributions work really well with Active Directory. I put you on the hotspot. You got WSL to work, so you're the expert in the class now. Any questions, ask him. All right. Okay. On that juncture, that's what WSL is. Okay. So you can kind of play with it. All right. So I would encourage you to do that. If you need help setting it up, bring in your PC. I'll help you. And I'll say, I don't know, let's figure it out together. Okay. And the next thing we're going to play with is this. Now, if you missed this, you can just grab it at the end of the class. Is these new toys. Like last week, we spent a few minutes at the very end of class playing with some of these tools. Well, I found some more tools that we can play with a little bit. You have homework in ZY books here. And if I go to where is it? I think it's up. It's in the, yeah, here we go. Here, where we're learning how to reduce these equations into something simpler. Okay. This is actual real homework that you'll be doing. And you're basically going to read and try to figure it out, guess, because this is exposure. I want you to be familiar with how these things fit together as you move through the world of computer science. Now, are you going to need it? Depends. If you're a hardware engineer, oh yeah. If you're going to do web dev, probably not. Okay. All right. And so basically it says, here's the expression. How do we reduce it? Looks like a bunch of gibberish, doesn't it? Okay. So if we go over here, there are some new ones. Boolean to logic gates, and then all about circuits. They do the same thing. These websites do basically the same thing. So if I click here, let's take a random sample, and there's a lot of ads on this. That's so let's take that random sample, and I'll hit go. And it's because the Boolean algebra adheres to discrete structures. There is a yes, a no, right, wrong. You can come up with the same answer, okay? And it shows you what the steps are, so you can use this to cheat on your homework. Oh, look, I got everybody's attention. If you want to learn, turn off your phone. And this is the actual truth table of what that Boolean expression creates. Okay, so this is actually how it's built, and it's showing you what it does. And this is the cool part. Here's the K map of where the ones and zeros intersect. And then that shows you what the circuit actually is. All that to say, click, light on, click, light off. That's pretty cool. So you can take an equation or a Boolean algebra. Let's take this one. Okay, let's just take that and copy it over to this Boolean algebra, showing you how to cheat in the wonderful. And paste it in. Paste. Oh, where'd it go? Come on. That's close enough. So there it goes. It reduces it. Now let's go down. There's my truth table. There's my K map. That's what the circuit actually looks like. It is it's a AND gate with two inputs. So when I get both to true, it turns on, but I can actually see what the truth table is. It's using three inputs. Okay. So I can actually expand this. So where's B? Well, it doesn't matter what B is basically what it's telling you. It doesn't care what B is. Ignore it. So have some fun with this. Explore it. What happened to my computer?